So I didn't realize, but the religious freedom comes before protecting children to the government. So, because, they'll protect the religious freedom, but they don't have to, like adhere to any of God's standards or anything. Yeah. So, look, I know what the Catholic Church has done in my state when it comes to the state kids, okay? I know it. I know they go out of their way to put predators in the group home, okay? I mean, and so this isn't an exaggeration. But what my question is, because at this point, given that the government will protect religious freedom over the protection of children, then really anybody could create a religion. A bunch of pedophiles could create a religion and say we're Christian, or really say whatever they want, and then they would be protected by the government. Seriously, they would. That's how much religious freedom protects you. And if you think some Christian nationalist thing is the answer, that's not either, because your Christian nationalists on the far right, okay, don't even call out the Catholic Church. They want to say, yeah, we're Christian, and that's so that's not the answer either. But my opinion is but the government doesn't have to abide by God's standards. I think eventually God will make sure that they, there's a price to pay for that attitude, in my opinion. Just because you're a government and you see the wall of separation in church and state, but yet you're willing to move over to always protect the church, then there's not really a wall there, is there? Because you're not protecting any children, though, either. Because when that church has so much money and has lobbied so heavily to prevent the very victims that want justice, then that doesn't matter to the government. So how do you, I just wonder to the government, regardless of, what party it is. Where does God fit into that? It doesn't, right? Because you just think that, well, we're the government, so as long as we're in a government role and these are the laws. I know that God's about laws and following the laws. I understand that law and order. God is that's very important to God. But just law, not we're going to protect the religious institution at all costs while we disregard a systemic child abuse problem. Again, God was about just laws. But that's really what could happen is you could get a bunch of crazy people that just want to hurt children, although we already have that. But that can call itself a religion, and the government, that's how much freedom they get. That they can get away with that. I don't know what the answer is. All I do know is that the government itself, many administrations, has aligned itself with the Catholic Church over and over again to protect it. And I just think there's a price, not that they would care, but I just think that there's a price to pay at the end of the day, someday, for that. Because that's an obvious one, that when you will always go out of your way to protect the very institution that has had a mass historical systemic child abuse problem, And I know that they don't care about the kids in the state system. But I think that really what the government does, this is why it doesn't matter if it's Trump, all of them will do this. They would rather protect Christianity, even if it's not an example of true Christianity, to hold up this, no, we're Christian. Again, it's all about what it looks like on the outside. And I think God wants to see true change. I don't think he cares about the aesthetics. He cares about true righteousness. And protecting religious freedom more than children is not righteous.